Buenos días. Good morning. Buongiorno a tutti. Poquito. Esos son algunos de los lenguajes que todavía se hablan en el Bronx. English, Spanish, and Jewish, and Italian. Welcome to the Bronx. Bienvenido al Bronx. As you can see, this is about one of the last few hats that's still left from back in 1997 that the Bronx was declared one of New York City's finest city. And the reason for that is because people in the Bronx, if you recall, those were, you were not born, maybe in the 70s, the 80s, and you know, so you might not be aware of that. Some of them are here, I recognize them. They gave me something called PE, political education. At the age of 33, I began to understand how important it is. In order for Martin Luther King said it best, no one is free until we're all free. What the Bronx looked like many years ago. It's so much different in terms of the way you look around, you see this beautiful college. It only happened because people made a decision in those days. Say, wait a minute, our youngsters are entitled to a good education. So what do we need? We need to turn this old factory into something that will be called in the near future Eugenio Maria de Hostos. That's where you're at right now. That's one of the first struggles and victory out of struggle. The other struggle is, if you look down the block, for those of you who might not be from the border, the Bronx, or the city of New York, you have Lincoln Hospital. Well, the old Lincoln Hospital was demolished. We struggled, and we built a new one, and it provided hundreds of jobs for African American, Latinos, and others in this borough. Lincoln Hospital. It came out of struggle, and it provides good health services. The Bronx has been rebuilt. We have managed, in one of my travels in fighting for the freedom of our prisoners, I went once to the Dominican Republic, and guess what? I found myself in the middle of Fidel Castro visiting the Dominican Republic, and they asked me, the reporters saw me there, they thought it was not a coincidence. What's this other old man doing here? They asked me, what are you doing here? I say, if I have an opportunity, I will approach Fidel, and I say, Fidel, what do you think? We're fighting to keep the Bronx, the Yankees in the Bronx. What do you think? Good idea. Keep the Yankees in New York and the Bronx.
It's really important for us historically, the role of New York, but also in the campaign, it's vital to be able to come to the East Coast and have people meet us. Obviously, we're in Chicago and we're kind of far from everyone. And so we have to kind of make the trip to make sure that we keep that pressure on. And now we have the new chapter here with National NBHRN, but also all the other relationships that we've been able to establish over the last 10 years here. I'm going to introduce really quick our former Puerto Rican political prisoners to say a few words. So I want them all to come up together, actually. If we could have Luis Rosa, please come up. Ricardo Jimenez, please come up. Adolfo Ramos, please come up. And they're going to take us into the next session.
Buenos días a todos y a todas. Para mí no solamente un honor estar aquí, pero una obligación, como cada uno de todos nosotros que venimos de diferentes áreas, de diferentes lugares, para hacer esto real. Yo creo que necesitamos un compromiso nato, necesitamos una verdadera entrega para poder sacar a estos compañeros de las prisiones. Avelino, Carlos y Oscar. Tengo el honor de leer un mensaje que nos envió nuestro compañero Rafael Cancel Miranda. Ustedes lo conocen, ¿verdad? ¿Se acuerdan de él? No se oye, no se oye. Dice así: saludos mi gente, en la liberación de Carlos, Oscar y Avelino está nuestra propia liberación. Las colonias son cárceles y nuestra nación puertorriqueña es una colonia. Ellos tres han dado y dan la cara por nosotros, por lo tanto, es algo más que un deber que nosotros demos la cara por ellos. Han sacrificado su libertad personal por la libertad de todos nosotros. Cada minuto que dediquemos a la lucha para sacarlos de la prisión nos acerca más a nuestra propia liberación. Como los nombres de aquellos y aquellas que nos precedieron en la lucha por la patria, realzan nuestra existencia como pueblo. Sin un Oscar, sin un Carlos Alberto, sin un Avelino, sin una Alejandrina, sin una Blanca Canales, sin una Carmín Pérez, sin un Luis Rosa y tantos otros como ellos, no habría patria. Quiero desde acá, desde Puerto Rico, extenderles un abrazo de gratitud a todos los aquí presentes. Gracias a muchos como ustedes es que los 5 nacionalistas fuimos liberados de las cárceles. La lucha nunca es en vano. Sin lucha jamás podríamos llegar a la meta final, que es la liberación de nuestra patria y del pueblo puertorriqueño. Si es posible, también quiero extender un abrazo solidario a los compañeros y las compañeras que celebran con gran alegría la liberación de nuestra queridísima Assata Shakur, compañera a quien admiro de todo corazón por su disposición a luchar como sea necesario por su pueblo. A la hora de la verdad, nuestras luchas son una misma. Un abrazo bien grande para Carlos Alberto y Oscar y Avelino. No digo un abrazo a través de las rejas, porque no hay rejas para el espíritu de los hombres y mujeres libres, como lo son esos 3 compañeros, como lo son los 5 hermanos cubanos en las cárceles yanquis, y como lo es Leonard Peltier y todos los hermanos y hermanas de Malcolm X y Assata Shakur en las cárceles del imperio. En nombre del pueblo patriota puertorriqueño, pa'lante siempre, tenemos la fuerza para vencer, organicemos esa fuerza y venceremos. Rafael García Miranda.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here today and to see so many various people that around the time that I was in prison had communicated with me, had spent time with me, had been an inspiration to me. Today your presence now takes an initiative for us to particularly deal with something very serious that's happened to our nation, and that's the incarceration of Carlos Alberto Torres, Oscar Lopez Rivera, who in April of 2010 will become the oldest political prisoners in the history of Puerto Rico. Nobody else has done more time than Oscar and Carlos. It is your initiative today, with your presence, that we initiate this new campaign, a new phase of this campaign, that we're going to start strategizing, commit ourselves based on the humanity that they deserve to be home, based on the fact that 30 years is extremely too much, and to recognize to the world that Puerto Rico still has 2 political prisoners in United States prisons. Not only they are the oldest political prisoners in Puerto Rico, they also are recognized as probably one of the oldest political prisoners in Latin America, and 2 of the oldest political prisoners in the Western Hemisphere. So therefore, in this new phase that we're going to strategize and we're going to talk and see what we're going to do, we're probably in this first phase in April 4th, that we would like the participation and to get involved people who were part of the campaign before, people who had given their time and their existence and their effort to liberate us and had the satisfaction come in reality in 1999. Now we're asking you for one more effort, that you all come together. The young people here are now going to take a new role in this campaign. The baton is being passed as this generation comes alive. New forms of communications that you now will initiate will come from the youngsters. We now are going to ask that old generation, my generation, generations of a few decades ago, to come join us in one more effort, that we unite together and we make this first phase a reality, and that in the new few years we will see the efforts of every sacrifice that you have made become a reality, and we see Oscar Lopez Rivera and Carlos Alberto return back to where they should be, home. I hope that you take this as a commitment. You guys, everybody here has now made that effort to come and join us in this first phase. I know you have the potential, you have the initiative, and you have the heart to begin this phase. That's going to be a lot of sacrifices, it's going to be a lot of work, but in the long run, the victory will be ours. And I hope that you join us and we continue, and that we, in April 4th, we show in our different cities, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, California, and our country, Puerto Rico, that they will have to deal with the issue of the Puerto Rican political prisoners. It's not like they don't know, since Holder was the Attorney General who dealt with our case personally. It's not like Obama doesn't know who we are. He came from Chicago. It's an effort that we have to show in numbers. We have to show the international community the violations of human rights that has been committed against our prisoners. And the little excuse that they have that we are going to be a threat to their security if we are released cannot no longer be accepted, because you have now 11 examples of Puerto Rican political prisoners who have been out for over 10 years and have been better model citizens than a lot of people of even their legislature. So therefore, their basis of arguments are no longer valid. And so we will continue. We're going to go into this phase now, and hopefully when we start this organization and we end in April 4th, 2010, which culminates a historical event for Puerto Rico, because this is history being made. You all will be part of it. You all will bring other people around, and we will begin this initiative of bringing them home. Thank you.
Buenos días. Y un abrazo. I want to welcome the students from the Pedro Avicio Campos High School from Chicago.
They're college students.
Without emotions, without passion, nothing's going to get done. Our comrades will remain in prison, but we know better, because I can feel the emotion, I can feel the passion in this room. There are people here who served time with us. Those 20 years that we spent in prison, there are people here who were in our cells, embracing us, lecturing us, giving us the warmth, and through their work on the streets, they did that time, but they took us out there with them. That's what we have to do with these comrades. We cannot let them sit in there alone. We have to be there vigilant, because abuses like what just happened to Carlos Alberto Torres, abuses and the torture that happened to Oscar will continue to happen if we are not vigilant, if we do not do our part. What Don Rafael Cáncer Miranda spoke about, that the process of liberation, the process of helping bring home these comrades is a liberating process, but it liberates us as well. It's not just bringing them home. They are free men, even behind those bars. Some of them are a lot freer than us. They will not let their conscience and their beliefs, their principles be encaged. Their bodies may be behind bars, but their spirit isn't. We have to free ourselves, and one way of doing that is committing ourselves to a better life, committing ourselves to respecting others, to respecting nature, and to helping free those, becoming the voice of those who sometimes are silenced. There has to be passion. There has to be love. And we are testament that has existed in other campaigns. And the reason why we continue to do work is because that's something that we have internalized. And I think that I can see faces here of people who have done that. I met a comrade here today who I have not seen in many years, Jose from La Piedras de Puerto Rico, who used to write our little small articles to newspapers and to Claridad, pushing the Puerto Rican Independence Party to take a stronger stance on our issue. That is needed. I know of poets who have written poems that have bounced around the world and have helped raise consciences. That is needed. There's no small contribution in this. Everything, every little drop of blood is needed. And we have a mission before us. And we not only have a mission for our comrades, but we have a mission for those sisters and brothers who became family in there, who became family through a struggle that we share in common. The Marilyn Bucks and the Leonard Patiers and the Jan Lamans, we have a mission to them, for them as well. But look at solidarity. The best solidarity work that we can do is that work that we can do in our communities. Any act of liberation is an act of solidarity. So with that, I hope that you remain focused on your workshops and the work that needs to be done, but do not limit yourselves to the possibilities of what work can be done. You know, think big, but stay focused with what you can contribute and what you can accomplish. I see these comrades today a little closer to us. I see them closer to home because of your presence. And I feel your love and I feel the passion and the work that you're going to do. Thank you.
The struggle in Puerto Rico and internationally to release the Puerto Rican political prisoners. This is part of a legacy that began ever since there were Puerto Rican political prisoners. And the first Puerto Rican political prisoner we know of was Mercedes Barbudo in the 1820s. But obviously before her there were a lot more that have now been recorded. The native people who struggled against Spanish domination, the African slaves who were brought to Puerto Rico against their will, who fought for their liberation, who were captured. And obviously all of the people who were arrested in El Grito de Lares. So there's a history, the Componte of 1887, the process of struggle that took place right after the U.S. invasion of Puerto Rico. There's a history here.